Deep within the dense, frost-covered pine forests of the Bavarian Alps, a winged silhouette glides between the ancient timberline. This is the Wolpertinger. Regional trackers describe it as an evasive, 2-foot-tall hybrid, a creature that exhibits both mammalian and avian traits for alpine survival. Its physical foundation consists of the muscular torso and powerful hind legs of a European hare, covered in thick, coarse brown fur to withstand sub-zero temperatures. The skull features protruding, saber-like fangs extending from the upper jaw. These are adapted for stripping bark and capturing small prey. Sharp, branching roebuck antlers provide a means of territorial defense, while 2 feathered wings allow the animal to execute rapid, erratic bursts between high branches. While mainstream biology has long categorized the animal as a regional myth, local alpine hunters maintain that the creature is a distinct biological entity that aggressively defends secluded mountain valleys. The mystery surrounding the Wolpertinger lies in its persistence. It has transitioned from an 18th century woodsman's tale into a specific target for modern scientific monitoring. The roots of the legend trace back to the mid-18th century near the village of Wolpertinger, where the creature's name likely originated. Forestry logs from 1753 detail accounts from seasoned woodsmen who reported attacks by winged furred beasts. These loggers described small animals dropping from the canopy to latch onto their leather coats with elongated fangs. Early skeptics attempted to explain these sightings as the misidentification of diseased wildlife common to the Black Forest. This diagram illustrates the Shope papillomavirus theory. The virus causes horn-like keratin growths on the skulls of hares, which scientists argued locals were mistaking for the antlers of a Wolpertinger. This viral theory explains the horns, but leaves the reported avian wings and predatory fangs completely unaccounted for. Because early biological explanations were incomplete, the myth remained unresolved, eventually evolving from a forest legend into a physical commodity. In the 19th century, the Wolpertinger moved from the timberline and into the local taverns of Bavaria. Bavarian taxidermists began exhibiting physical carcasses, created by stitching together the bodies of hares, roebuck antlers, and pheasant wings. Mainstream biology dismissed these specimens as elaborate hoaxes designed to profit from the curiosity of tourists. Alpine hunters argued that these taxidermy mounts were attempts to replicate a rare biological anomaly they had seen in the wild, but were unable to capture intact. The prevalence of these manufactured specimens blurred the line between physical evidence and regional folklore, damaging the creature's scientific credibility for decades. Paradoxically, the commercialization of the Wolpertinger allowed core mystery to persist by keeping the idea of the creature alive in the public consciousness, even as a joke. The search for the Wolpertinger has now moved out of 19th century workshops and into the realm of modern empirical data collection. University research departments have begun deploying environmental monitoring grids across the previously unmapped valleys of the German Alps. These research teams are now using AI pattern recognition systems to monitor these grids, shifting the search from human observation to algorithmic surveillance. This technical approach treats the Wolpertinger as a measurable biological target rather than a subject of folklore. As shown on this topographical map, modern sensor grids cover a vastly larger area than traditional tracking, providing continuous data from the high Alpine. The AI filters out known wildlife paths, specifically isolating erratic movement vectors corresponding to a winged mammalian hybrid. High-resolution camera traps and sensors currently blanket the mountains, waiting for the anomaly to cross the threshold of verifiable proof. The evolution of the Wolpertinger, from tavern stories to digital sensor grids, shows how our methods for exploring the wild have scaled. We are no longer just telling stories about the unknown, we are building the infrastructure to measure it.
Deep in the folklore of the Bavarian Alps, there is a creature that sounds like a complete punchline. A rabbit with deer antlers, bird wings, and fangs. The locals call it the Wolpertinger. For generations, the scientific consensus remained fixed. These creatures were dismissed as stitched-together hoaxes, created by bored 19th century taxidermists to trick travelers. The premier institution housing these famous historical mounts is the Deutsches Jagd- und Fischerei Museum, located in the center of Munich. Because these exhibits were officially classified as folklore art, researchers overlooked the physical details for over a century, assuming the specimens held no biological value. That perspective shifted when a group of independent biologists recently secured permission to re-examine several of the oldest taxidermy mounts using modern diagnostic tools. They discovered that the oldest specimens possessed advanced bone grafting and dermal tissue fusion. These techniques are significantly more sophisticated than the standard glue and stitch methods used in the 1800s. Crucially, the specimens featured vascular integration. As this cross-section shows, actual blood vessels bridged the gap between the mammalian tissue and the avian feather follicles, a level of biological continuity that suggests a living origin. If these museum displays possess biological integration far beyond the capabilities of a 19th-century forgery, we are left to consider if they are preserved examples of a real biological anomaly. To find the truth, we have to look toward modern field encounters. In 1987, a series of events in a rural Bavarian logging community moved the creature out of the museum and into the real world. A localized panic broke out when a team of loggers working in the deep forest accidentally unearthed a massive subterranean warren. A swarm of small, antlered mammals with feathered wings erupted from the ground. The men reported that the creatures glided aggressively past their heads while emitting sharp, predatory hisses. The incident was documented by local police after the loggers, visibly shaken, refused to return to the site to finish their work. This documentation marked a shift in how the creature was perceived, moving from a whimsical myth to a documented occupational hazard for those working in the Bavarian timberline. Modern fieldcraft has since provided a more detailed look. A professional wildlife tracker for the Bavarian Forestry Commission recently led a boots-on-the-ground investigation near the Austrian border. He discovered a trail of tracks that defied standard classification, combining the padded hind feet of a hare with deep, avian-like talon gouges. Higher in the canopy, the tracker found a feeding site where pine bark had been stripped away by elongated, saber-like teeth, a pattern inconsistent with either deer or local rodents. Embedded in the tree's sticky sap was this physical evidence, a cluster of brown mammalian fur fused perfectly to the base of a blue jay feather. This specific biological fusion rules out known predators or scavengers in the region, providing a physical anchor for the existence of a hybrid. In April 2026, a university research team sought to eliminate human observer bias by deploying autonomous AI technology within the Black Forest canopy. Their motion detection neural network eventually triggered on a rapid airborne anomaly navigating the dense upper branches. High-resolution trail camera frames captured this 2-foot-tall biological Wolpertinger mid-glide. The footage shows a muscular, furred torso, fully extended feathered wings, and sharp roebuck antlers, all integrated into a single biological unit. Environmental DNA swaps taken from the foliage the creature touched yielded a chimeric genetic sequence. This data shows a mammalian DNA strand spliced with an avian strand, confirming the hybrid's genetic reality. These autonomous captures, supported by genetic sequencing, provide a foundation of evidence that the traditional hoax theory can no longer explain. Through modern forensics and autonomous monitoring, the Wolpertinger is transitioning from a mythological figure to a documented biological subject. This confirmed mammalian-avian fusion introduces a new branch to European zoological taxonomy, providing a rare opportunity for biologists to study a previously unclassified hybrid. Today, university research teams have established permanent monitoring camps along the timberline, utilizing high-tech arrays to track these creatures across the peaks. This discovery suggests that even with our current technology, the ancient forests of the world contain biological realities we are only just beginning to map. The Alpine Chimera is a reminder that the frontier of our natural world remains largely uncharted.